Hi gorgeous, welcome back to Vitale Style. Today I'm going to share with you how I like to cream and contour with drugstore products. Now I'm calling this my flawless contouring routine because I love a contour that just kind of defines your beautiful and sort of natural features without looking overdone, without looking too sort of sharp and fake, because that to me kind of turns me off when it comes to contouring. I don't want to look like I'm being drawn, you know. I just kind of want it to look like it's a natural thing, like my cheekbones naturally look this good kind of thing. And I'm using all drugstore products because I wanted to, I know that contouring is like everywhere right now. Every new makeup artist, every brand is coming out with their own contour palette. I definitely have a few, but for me it was really about sharing some of my favorite drugstore products with you that could make the same look, that you could achieve the same thing with. Instead of having to buy a $50 palette, you can achieve the same, absolutely the same thing using drugstore products. So for me it was important that I shared that with you, and I just pulled together some of my favorite products that I truly stand by and that I love and that I think would be staples to have in your collection and that you could use over and over and over again. And I think, in my opinion, I think for me anyway, I reach for these products more than I reach, and I can even show you. I don't think I have ever even, let me try and find it because it is kind of comical and sad at the same time. I've never even used my Anastasia contour kit. I've hardly ever used it. I got it, I swatched it, and I was like, meh, okay. I mean, for some reason it just doesn't give me that yummy feeling like some of these products that I have and have had in my collections do. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to stop chit-chatting. I am going to get in with the tutorial, although I do want to let you know that my eyes and my eyebrows are already done in the video, but I will list down below what I'm wearing on my eyes, what I'm wearing on my lips, and of course you will see everything that I put on my face, which I will also leave down below. My ring is from Express, for those of you who might ask. It's just one of those rose gold crisscross rings, which I love, and I think that's it. So let me know down below what you want to see next. I'm making my April schedule now that I have some time on my hands, and I would love to get some videos ready for you. So let me know down below what you want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I am going to use all drugstore products on my face, from foundation all the way to highlighter. So I also already have my eyes done clearly, and I will list down below what I used on my eyes. It's just a makeup Geek Shadows and some false lashes. Okay, so I'm not even going to use a primer, but I did moisturize really well, and you know one of my favorite moisturizers of all time is the Pond's Dry Skin Cream. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Now for foundation, when it comes to cream contouring and stuff like that, to me, when you're going through this trouble of doing cream contouring and highlighting and then setting it and yada yada yada, you're doing it for special occasions. So I want a foundation that gives me really good coverage and I feel like looks flawless. And a recent favorite, which you'll hear me talk more about in my March favorites, is this one, which I never thought in a million years I would like. And this is the L'Oreal Magic Nude Liquid Powder Foundation, and this is in the color 328 Sun Beige. So I'm going to pop a little bit of that on my makeup palette. You know, I don't like applying anything with my fingers if I can help it, because it's just, I don't know, just not really my thing. I'm not even going to apply a, what do you call it, a corrector, because I don't have one from the drugstore I really like. So, and I'll show you a trick in a little bit with the under eyes. So I'm going to buff this in using my Real Techniques buffing brush, and there it is on my palette. And then I don't take very much of it because this has actually incredible coverage. And all I'm going to do is take my time and buff this into the skin really well. Now I have been self-tanning, so this matches me pretty perfectly. And it's a really beautiful tan color, so I love it. And what I'm going to do is make sure I have an even layer all over the skin. Okay, this looks good. Don't mind this. I had my hair done this morning and I stained my head. My and I can't rub it off until I shower, which I'm not showering right now, so it'll be fine. Now, I need to conceal, before I highlight and contour, I need to conceal the very inner part of my eyes, just because I do have dark under eye circles. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to take my Fit Me concealer from Maybelline in medium and sand. I'm using medium because it's got a great like salmon-y undertone, so that's going to help conceal a little bit of the dark circles. But as you can see, I'm only applying it in the very inner corner of my eyes where I have those dark circles, because I'm going to be highlighting everywhere else. I don't necessarily need to apply a ton of it everywhere. And then I'm just going to apply a little dot just to kind of make it tiny bit lighter. And then I'm going to use my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush, and all I'm doing, my ring is from Express, by the way. And all I'm doing is just buffing this into my skin right under my eyes. And like I said, I'm not really bringing it into like a big triangle area, because that's not my primary focus at the moment. My focus right now is to just conceal that inner corner of my eye where my dark spot is, my under eye circle is the worst. Now it is time to go with the cream contour. This is what I love, and this is from Maybelline, and it's one of the Fit Me foundation sticks, and the color is 330 Toffee Caramel. Now, I made the mistake of getting a deeper one a while ago, and I didn't like it because it just kind of looked too muddy on the skin, and it really kind of looked, just didn't look natural enough for me. So I tried this one, and I've been hooked ever since. I also really like the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in this one, in the color 330 Cafe. This gives you a bit more of a bronze look as opposed to more of a contour. This has got a bit cooler undertone, this has a warmer undertone, so really it's up to you. Today I'm going to go ahead and use this one because, again, I want to just carve out the cheekbones and a few other areas, which I'll talk you through. Now, I don't have to really cream contour my forehead because I have quite a small forehead, so I don't want to contour that. I do like to bronze it a bit because I want everything to kind of give me that bronze appearance, but I don't have to contour my forehead. If you have a bigger forehead that you want to contour, by all means take some of this on the forehead and contour. But really, for me, what I like to contour is the cheekbones, the nose, under the lip, and around the nose. Now, I like to go, first of all, pull your little hairs and add some like so. Now, you're probably going to have to add a couple layers of this to really get the intensity that you want. I, however, am someone that likes a contour, but I don't like it so severe that it clearly looks like it's just added on, because it's such a different tone from the rest of your skin. So I like to add it, again, in the cheekbones like so. And then because I want my when I smile, my cheekbones kind of naturally pop out, and I want that to be a bit more obvious, so I like to go right in here, a little bit right in here. You can't really see it, a little bit right in here, and that just kind of makes those cheekbones pop out even more. And then what I like to do, if I can find it, actually I'll use this. I like to take a small brush, take some of this on it, and run it on the sides of the nose just to slim it a little bit. I don't want it to look like I've got stuff everywhere, but at the same time, I definitely want it to look like I've got something there. Okay, so now we have that. I definitely want it to appear just a bit sharper. I'm going to add a bit more, like so, under the lip, and then run it under the chin, like that. Okay, now we can add the contour, the highlight. This is what I love using because I'm not a big fan of yellow powders. I just don't think they look very natural, at least not on me, so I don't like using them. So what I'd rather use is a creamy product or a concealer that has a bit of a yellow undertone. This is the NYX HD Photogenic Concealer, and this is the yellow one. There's no name on it, but it's the yellow one out of the range. And what I like to do is I like to add this kind of under the eye area, and this is really thin. It's not super heavy, which I prefer, because then again it doesn't look so obvious, which I'm not a big fan of that look. I like to add some of that there between the eyes, kind of thin it out like so, tip of the nose, down the bridge of the nose, just kind of slims down your nose just a little bit. If you have an already very slim nose, you do not need to be doing this. But I like to. And then I like to take some of that, because this really sharpens up your contour, and run that right underneath your contour line. Get the baby hairs out of the way. Like that. I definitely need to add a bit more over here, because again, this is really light. It's not very pigmented product. I mean, it is pigmented, but it's kind of sheer. And then what I like to do, so it's not so stark and yellow, I like to take a little bit of my Maybelline Fit Me in the color Sand, and I like to pop a little bit of that on there, just like that. Just underneath the eyes. That. Good. Okay, so now it's time to blend things out. You can use a beauty blender for the entire thing, but I don't. I like to take this little guy, which is just my Real Techniques contour brush, and I like to kind of buff out the contour with it. So wherever you apply that contour, just buff, buff, buff. Which is what I like to do. Like that. Okay, once you have that blended out, you take your damp beauty blender and you blend out everything else. So under that contour, like so. And then I just kind of flip it like that and blend out everything underneath the eye. And as you can see, I don't bring it up right underneath my lower lash line, because I don't need to. And also because the more fine lines you have, the more it's going to appear like you've got tons and tons and tons of wrinkles under your eyes, because everything is just kind of settling in there. So I don't really bring it all the way up, but that's personal preference. Okay. Now, you can set the under eyes with a brightening powder. Again, I'm not a fan of setting it with really bright powders, but what I do love setting it with is with this, and this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in Reserve Your Cabana. I really like this because it gives me a little bit of a brightening effect, but not very much, which is what I prefer. So I just like to set my under eyes with this, and then I just take a bigger brush. Bigger brush like so, which is just a powder brush from Sephora, and just set everything else. Now you can leave it like this, and you can see you've got kind of a natural contour, but I think you need to kind of set everything and really make everything stand out by using a contour powder. The powder I love is this one. This is actually a foundation, like it's a regular powder from L'Oreal. This is a True Match powder in number 8 Cappuccino. Love for contouring, like love on such a deep level, I can't even describe it to you. I'm going to use the same brush from Real Techniques. I love this contour brush. It's amazing. And I'm just going to go, in the cheekbones, on the sides of the nose, underneath the chin. It's the only place I'm going to put the matte one. And then I'll show you kind of the other bronzer I like to use to almost like it's a transition color, but you can see it's such a beautiful powder, and I love how it looks on top of this, of the contour stick that we use, or the Maybelline stick that we use. And then what I like to do is I like to take a bronzer that's got a little bit of more life to it, that it's not so matte, something with a little bit of a sheen, not sparkle. This is one of my favorites. This is the Maybelline Dream Sun Bronzing Powder in the color 110. Glow Medium, and just a bigger, fluffier brush, and I'm going to apply this kind of over top, slightly over top of where we applied the matte contouring powder, and this is what's going to go on the forehead, because this is acting as a bronzer, kind of like where the sun would naturally hit is where this is going to naturally hit. So I like to bring this on the sides of the cheeks, underneath the jaw, not that the sun's going to hit you underneath the jaw, but it does kind of contour that area just a little bit. And then I always like to do a little bit in this area, because I don't know about you, but when I bronze from the sun, I definitely hit this area as well. So I always like to kind of cross it across, kind of pass it across my cheeks just a little bit. Now, you're thinking, what happened to your contour? It used to be so sharp, and now it's not. we're gonna fix that. Now we're gonna do something called cooking or baking, which is basically gonna be setting this area with a powder for a bit, just so that once we clean it off, that contour is really sharp. The powder I like using, which again is a translucent powder, but when you add enough of it, it's quite strong, is a Coty Airspun powder. And I like to take that on that same small brush. And you're gonna take quite a bit of it. And all you're gonna do is kind of set underneath that contour. So you can also, I don't have a drugstore version of it, but you can take a powder puff like so. You can dab some of that powder in there and do that. You see that? And let it sit for about 10 minutes. This is called cooking or baking. There's a ton of different variations for it. Anything that tells me to cook or bake, I'm all about, as you guys might know. So I'm just gonna leave that under there. I know I look nuts. I'm gonna leave that under there like so. And in the meantime, what I'll do is I will work on the cheekbones. I want to apply just a really pretty pinkish blush. And this is a Physicians Formula Happy Booster Blush in Rose. I love this. And just use just a powder brush, a small blush brush, whatever you got. And apply just a small wash of color onto the cheekbones. Now, if you want your cheekbones to pop out, kind of like how I like my cheekbones to pop out, then bring it in all the way. If you don't, then just stick to the very back of the cheekbone and don't bring it in the way I am. So try to be careful not to mix up that powder. Okay, that's good enough. And then I'm gonna go over that with a highlighter, and this is from Physicians Formula in Translucent Pearl. This is a really pretty highlight. Same brush, just kind of a light sweep over the face. Now I'm going to let that Airspun, that powder, just to sit for a few minutes. In the meantime, I am just going to apply some mascara to my lower lashes, apply my lipstick, and then we'll clean this up and we'll be done. So it's been about 10 minutes since I've had the powder on, and now all I do is I take that small brush and I just wipe it away, like wipe all the powder away. You have a beautiful, natural contour that doesn't look fake or crazy. It just looks really lovely, and I absolutely am obsessed with these products because I don't think you can get any more of a beautiful, subtle, yet natural contour. I'm going to go in just to soften that line a little tiny bit. Now, like I mentioned, you can add, if you want to, sort of multiple layers of the contour product and make it as bold as you want to. I just prefer the kind of contour where it just kind of frames my face, highlights my natural features, but doesn't make me look sort of too heavy, too overdone, too fake, because to me that's just never a good look. But that's a personal preference. But if you want to make it strong, large, and in charge, you go for it, because after all, it is your face. So you can add as much or as little as you want. So I hope that you found this video helpful. I know that contouring is all the rage right now. Every makeup artist, every brand is coming out with their own contour palette, but I wanted to share with you, I wanted to pull together some of my favorite drugstore products and show you that a beautiful, natural sort of contour can be achieved with just a handful of products you can find in your local drugstore. And I think, to me anyway, this is what I go to over a contour palette because it just looks more natural, and which is what I prefer. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and let me know what you want to see next, because I always love hearing your suggestions. And I think that's about it, except for that you're the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!